Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video. And you know, I find myself slowly but surely morphing away from just being a football fan reflecting on the journey of my football team, and slowly but surely morphing into Ricky Gervais at the Golden Globes, as I feel like I'm here again to dig out the same people and roast the same issues time and time and time again. Because the last time me and they saw each other, I was very upset about Clement benching and dropping one of our best players and not overall playing our best squad. Well, that was Raskin getting bombed out the squad that I was very displeased at, I should say. Well, he started Raskin, but you know what he done? Because he started it, he then dropped our only other two good footballers we've gotten by the name of Igamane and Cerny. You know what I mean? One step forward, two steps back is the perfect summary of this man's management style. And honestly, I feel like I'm just going to dive right into that right away, because I'm looking, like, I'm honestly just telling you the truth right now. When I seen that starting 11, I mean, you can see my tweet when I saw it, I was absolutely gobsmacked when I seen that, because there's not one part of me that saw that starting 11 and thought we're winning today. I'm a Rangers fan, you know what I mean? I grew up seeing my team be success. I'm seeing starting 11s come out and going, nah, that's not good enough to win at firpark, which, no disrespect to Motherwell, I thought they were great, especially in the first half. Their half started to get a wee bit nippy in the second half because they were like, oh no, I might actually start doing it. We made some changes. It's always going to go like that, but the first half, the braveness, the way that they played, they were excellent in a man, and again, fighting, hard work, effort. If we had pretty much what we seem to face every single week, with that work rate, that effort and desire that we see every single week from the opposition, and our starting 11, we'd be in a much, much better spot, but we didn't see it. We see it in glimpses, we see it in a couple of people, but we didn't see it enough, both on and unfortunately off the park, as Phil Clement was back to his tinkering. And Phil the Tinkerer is easily the most infuriating Rangers manager I've seen maybe ever. You know what I mean? I'm going back. You know what I mean? I've been in front of you through some duffers like Murty and Pedro and everything like that, right? We've seen duffers at this club, but this guy drives me mental, because even when you look at a Pedro, and even when you look at a Murty, or even when you look at a Bale, when you saw the starting 11, you went, yeah, that's about as best this is going to get. You never had too many frustrations where you saw, why is he not playing this guy? Why is he not? It was usually the best of what they've got available. Sometimes it went right. Clearly, it never went right enough. But Clement's got players there that he just intentionally doesn't pick. And we hear excuses about sports scientists this, and he's been advised this, and he's advised this. And honestly, before I continue on with the rest of the video, I want to know who's picking the Rangers team. Does anybody actually know? Is it the manager, or is it PE teachers in around Govan? Do you know what I mean? Is that who's picking it, saying, oh, he's ran a certain amount of kilometres, he should be rotated? And I know I'm going to get a lot of flat back for that and say, oh, come on now, Sage, that's modern football, they track all this on track, it's stats and statistics, and aye, fair enough, grab it, I'm getting older, and I'm moaning about it, ladies and gentlemen, because I can't compute resting and rotating our best players for potential injuries or potential this, because all this rotation and all these points that we've flung away whilst rotating and dropping this and following what the stats say and following what the numbers say has brought us zero success or zero progress in improving our injury issue. Because you look at our team and you look at the injury list that we've had this season with all the implements of this and minutes restrictions, and he can't do this, you know, we have more injuries, more injuries this season so far than we did last season under Michael Beale. That Clement and his staff had wee nips it and wee moans it, complaining about how we went about our business. Well, he's had a pre-season, he's doing this, he's following these, he's following the numbers. We're in a worse off state injury wise. So when you start to look at everything on that table, we're weakening our squad for what? To prevent injuries. The injuries are still happening. 90% of our squad has missed. Even Jack Butland's missed a game due to an injury, and he just does this and this occasionally, or picking the ball at his net, more so than actually one, you know what I mean? And I sit and look at that and I just get frustrated, and that's where I want to go next, because Clement's using excuses about, well, he's been advised to us to do this. I think that's nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. If Igamane and Cerny can come and play the way they did in the second half, which I think they played very, very well, and if that was sprinkled throughout the team and we had more players with the effort and the quality they have, we win this game today, despite what actually went on, and despite my frustrations and my annoyance at this game of football, and obviously the drop points. It's no at a Cerny, it's no at an Eggman, and I would actually throw in Raskin in there as well, as there about the three players that I thought fought for the actual point that was grabbed the day. The rest of them, seemed like they were trying to give it to Motherwell with just the lack of quality, belief, confidence, and just overall talent. Because, by God, did we look rotten for large parts of that. You take those 3 players off the table, the rest, just not seeing it. But I do want to really narrow in and focus in on this not playing your best squad and rotating this and keeping this and following the stats. Well, here's some stats for you, Mr. Clement. We have picked up 11 points away from home out of a possible 27. Away from home, the only team to have scored less goals than us away from home in a 12-man league is Ross County. That means there is 10 other teams in this league with a budget that's the packet of Chris when you take Celtic off the table, are playing and performing and scoring goals more regular than us away from home. Is that not absolutely shambolic to hear? Yet we go into these games with absolute disrespect and almost a contempt to this league to think that we can play the likes of Dessers and Dowells. We can start they. Lads, I think that is honestly disgusting, and the lack of respect it not only shows this league, but the lack of respect it shows the fans, especially the lads out there travelling, spending the money at this time of the year with the amount of money it goes. That is absolutely shambolic for Phil Clement. No matter what guy said this or what stat suggests that, he is the Rangers manager. It'll be him that goes down with the ship, so he needs to start ignoring that BS feedback that's just dragging this club down, as we've already mentioned and proven with the actual stats, and actually just pick his best team. Because if your best team's getting beat and your best team's dropping points, fair enough. The problem for us, the fans, is once again, just like our last game and a lot of our away games, this rotation and putting in duffers isn't our strongest 11. And I don't know, maybe I'm too close to Rangers, maybe I'm not really getting it, maybe I'm too emotional with my team, but is there actual other teams out there that week in, week out do not play their starting 11 when all of them are actually available? Igamane and Cerny gave us 45 minutes today. Actually 55 minutes when you consider the 10 minutes added on, right? So, and you consider that, I think they played about 3 or 4 minutes after that because of the stoppage and the check with the potential elbow of Cerny on Tony Watt. So you're talking about 60 minutes they had in their legs, all in, given what we saw today. So they can play 60 minutes in the second half, but they can't start a game off and play 60 minutes. Bring that quality, bring that ability, and actually start the game off playing our strongest team that maybe scores goals. The way we the way we played in the second half under the 2 lads was much better. They had 60 minutes in the legs. They can't do that to start a game. They've got to be able to come off the bench to do it. Do you see what I mean here? It's just not making sense, and I'm just sick of the lies. I'm sick of the nonsense. He rotates because he is choosing to be struggling as badly as we are so far this season, and to go into this game and choose to play Dessers, who is absolutely gone confidence-wise and should be gone for filling his nappy in the cup final way hiding in the back. By the way, to start him over the likes of Igamane, who's been one of the very few bright sparks and one of the few players that are actually playing well in this team, is a maddening decision, but it's completely overshadowed by his decision to start Kieran Dowell over Cerny. Say what you like about Cerny, whether he frustrates you or no. I think his second half performance showed what he's actually got. But to choose Kieran Dowell, who's not had a single moment where he has proven to be up to the standard of a Rangers player in his Rangers career so far, is completely maddening. And especially when, now that I've seen the laddie play, and it's no a computer game, it's no career mode deal, when I've seen this laddie play, and again for this channel I do look at a lot of the other teams in Scottish football, I try my best to keep updated, I try and do my best to know every player so I can inform you right here on the channel. I think if you look at Kieran Dowell, I don't think he starts for a single other team in this league, and considering again 95% of them has a budget of a packet of Chris, that is pretty damning. If he's not starting for any other team in this league, why the hell is he starting for us? And especially when we're playing as poorly as we are right now, you could maybe try and get something out again, maybe build something up. If your team is rocking and rolling and playing well, and you're smashing teams left, right and centre, and you know someone that's gone in there who's a wee bit weaker, maybe low in confidence, you can almost carry that by having other players that are red hot and firing and doing the business to see if there's something. But this ship has literally gone down and down and down, and we're chucking laddies on who would miss a lifeboat, and I truly didn't understand it. I truly didn't get it, and I'm sick to death of the nonsense I'm hearing in every single press conference. Oh, they're too tired. Oh, they've told me they don't want to play. Oh, sports science said this, they've said that. I just didn't believe it anymore, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? We get told Rabbi Matondo will be back 4 to 6 weeks. 17 weeks later, he's back in and amongst it. You know what I mean? Cortez will only belong. He was away for about 3 months on that aspect. There's another one. We were told that Dujon Sterling cannot start consecutive games because he just isn't able to do that, and he needs to be managed carefully. That is why Tavernier continually comes back in to the starting 11, because Sterling is physically incapable right now. He is not fit enough, and he needs to be carefully managed. But it's hilarious how quickly this massive issue and the problem that would take time to fix is instantly resolved the second we need Dujon Sterling to play at any other position consecutively that's not in Tavernier's spot at right back, because he's played every minute of every game every 3 days since moving to centre half. But we were all told straight to your face he can't go at right back, which has been a massive problem for us all season long, because he can't start consecutive games. He's not fit enough to do that. I don't know about you, man, but I'm just sick of the lies, and I'm sick of the nonsense, and I'm at a stage I didn't believe a single word that comes out of the club, right? Because I look at it and I go, I just didn't believe it. The manager seems like he just fires every excuse at the book. He never gives praise to the opposition, never talks about this. He constantly just narrows in on one single point or one single incident in the game, and that's the reason we never won. It wasn't his poor tactics, his poor style, not picking his best team and playing players that shouldn't be playing. It's everybody else's fault but he's in, and I would like to see a bit of accountability, because even the likes of Gerrard, and I'm no sorry picking at this wound again or talking about this, but when Gerrard got it wrong, we saw what he'd done. He would stand there and says, it was me, this one's on me, I'd take this. And I just think players respect that type of mentality more so than we did. And I know the players certainly shouldn't get a bypass here or a wee pat in the back, because again a lot of them were absolutely rotten. But what are we talking about here? Tavernier getting turned inside out defensively, is that a shock to anybody? The midfield being a weak, the centre-back position being a shambles, Dujon Sterling not being a centre-back, is any of this a surprise? No, we continually see it every single time. We just didn't do anything about it. And I even thought maybe the leadership, because Tavernier again will continue to be mentioned, rightly so. I thought he was barking once again, but we're talking about the likes of Jack Butland, or it's Captain Jack, or he's doing this. Butland's has been as worse than anybody else in a Rangers shirt over the last couple. He has been absolutely shocking this season. And there was a point in this game I was saying he needs to get subbed off for Liam Kelly. There was a moment, he was going to say it in the last game that we played, where he was a wee bit all over the place after giving the penalty kick, you know what I mean, fumbling here, dropping this in, and almost flopping at a set piece that actually hit the bar rather than back in. Well, he's back head again, flopping at that, allowing something to come back off his bar. He was all over the place as well. I'm just seeing, and I'm waiting to see a leader to truly emerge in that team and take it away for the old guard, and take it away and see a bit of responsibility, and more so accountability. I just didn't see it when I look at the team, as I see, oh, he'll take the blame, he'll take the blame, or he'll take the blame. And maybe that does end up going back to the manager as well. Maybe the players, again, are looking saying, the manager will get punted, I'll try hard when the next gaffer's in. That's me, I've checked out now because I'm not getting consecutive game time. Whatever the case may be, it is just simply not good enough for a Rangers team. And I'm sitting here in front of you once again, disappointed, but no surprise that my team's playing bang average, because as I said just a couple of days ago, this is a bang average side with a bang average manager who will continue to fumble about in the dark as he simply refuses to play his best 11. And I can't sit here and guarantee we win games with our best 11, but it would be a hell of a lot easier to swallow, to drop points and see wee bad performances or see wee bad results if I know we have got everybody on the part that should be on it to start these games. Again, my frustration just builds and builds and builds when an idiot like me can sit and look at a starting 11 honestly an hour and 15 minutes before a game against Motherwell at firpark and say, that's probably no winning that game. You used to total up. Remember, that's 3 points, that's 3 points. That'll be tough, but that's a 3 point. You look at the Rangers fixtures right now and you look at the fixtures that's coming up. How many are we actually getting? Like, genuinely, our away form is horrendous. 11 out of 27. We're not scoring goals, we're not playing well, we're not keeping the back door shut. There's very little ability in there. There's 3 players, 4 players maybe that's actually playing well. Again, it's not a 5-a-side team where you can carry somebody. It's 11 other players, and It's just, again, rotten to actually watch. But again, it's not a surprise, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like I'm maybe boring a lot of people that's hearing the exact same stuff, but it's the same old crap. It's Groundhog Day, and I feel like we're going to be like Bill Murray all season, as the mistakes, both on and off the park, just continue and will continue to happen. But enough talking around the game. Let's go ahead and get into it then, shall we? Again, those 5 changes, did that inspire some confidence? Did that inspire some ability? Did we start the game well, or did we look a bit of a mumbled, jumbled mess? I think you'll know the actual answers. We started slowly. Surprise, surprise. But speaking of surprise, surprise, despite us starting slowly and looking as bad as we did, guess the team that created the first major opportunity in the game that should burst the ball into the back of net and take the lead in the game. To go even further down that rabbit hole of surprise, guess the player that was at fault for missing the clear-cut opportunity to ease the tension on a team that, again, was completely jumbled and all over the place. It was, yes, your boy, Dessers, as Ridvan Yilmaz probably should have finished with 2 or 3 assists the day. Again, if he sharpened up a bit more defensively and got his positional sense back, you could probably talk him up as being one of the players that played well, because he did create opportunities today. He runs wide, puts the ball into the mixer, he picks out Cyril Dessers beautifully, who just needs to strike the ball and put it into the back of net. But I think he just, I don't know what he does with it, he kind of mishits it into the grunt and it goes slow, or just right to the goalie actually. It's an absolute horrific shot. Anywhere else is busting the ball in the back of net. But again, we are at fault for our own issues. We're playing a striker that's allergic to scoring goals, that has zero confidence or belief to put the ball into the back of net. So is it any surprise that our goal-shy striker that is terrified to shoot isn't putting the ball into the back of net, and isn't looking composed, and isn't looking so deadly? We used to have the likes of Jermaine Defoe coming off the bench. That was our rotation. That was the standard that was previously at this club. And to see it fumble away and regress so much that I'm watching Dessers in big 2024, almost big 2025, the way that he's playing, and again on a park that he shouldn't ever be playing in again after what happened in the cup final, just makes me feel ill. It's Ross County last year when we bottled the league. It's Dundee last year when we bottled the league. It's Motherwell as well, by the way, where he created that big opportunity and missed it as well. It's the same stuff, same players, err and err again, but they're rewarded with starts because a PE teacher says that boy's a wee bit tired today and got a bit, a sniffle. I can't be bothered, ladies and gentlemen. But that was a major opportunity missed by Rangers. And you know how it goes. Now, I imagine there's going to be some debate on VAR and some debate on the referee here, because Proper's header does hit the Motherwell striker. Sorry, I was going to attempt the name there, but I didn't want to annoy half of Australia. Anyway, he's jumping up like that. It hits him off here. Our players are like, it's a foul. You know what I mean? The schoolboy stuff to stop. Then it's an absolute wonderful ball, and I think that's maybe getting lost because it's a great assist, and then it's a tidy finish where Jack Butland doesn't get doing quickly enough, as per the usual so far this season, right? And people can look at it and be like, does it strike his hand? Aye. Should it be that? I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. Truly, I didn't get it, but I've seen us, especially with the likes of Connor Goldson, have his hands here or here, and it's hit his hand and it's not been given as a penalty. So I can't sit here the other way and says, oh, it should have been a handball or anything. I don't know what the official rules are. I know they move the goalpost each and every single time, but I've seen, because his aims are in like this, that's why I think it's not a penalty. I think if it's out and gone up, like a couple of times that John Souttar's been caught, then it's a penalty. But his aims are in here, it's down there. You just get on with the game and you play to the whistle. We could sit here and debate all handball rules and really dive into the stats of that if you want, or we can just expect professional football players that get paid thousands of pounds a week actually play to the whistle and didn't make schoolboy stuff. I mean, primary school players didn't do that. Amateur players, Sunday league players, semi-professionals play to the whistle, but it's another goal we've conceded at this football club where we just stop and want the referee to do his job. Just play to the whistle, man. That's all we need to do. Proper, slow and cumbersome trying to get back. Sterling does his best to recover. Again, he's got a good, decent enough pace, but I don't know how Butland gets beat by either. But it's just maybe the most Rangers goal that we can concede. It's dreadful for our centre-back. It's dreadful for our goalie. And it just sums up the mentality where we're just like, oh, it's a foul. Instead of just playing the game. Did they want to play football? Like, did they like it? Because they didn't play like it. But after maybe the potential controversy around that goal, we do actually respond a couple minutes later with Ridvan Yilmaz running down the left-hand side, picks out Danilo brilliantly, who's also got Dessers behind him shouting mine, but I didn't blame Danilo for going, hi, nah, I'll take my chances. But what I can blame him for is how horrific that header was. There's no belief, there's just no drive in it. He just kind of kisses it. I think he mishits it as well when you're looking at your striker missing a chance. But he's got that about him. We talk about it at the time. He's got that wee bit of the old Nacho Novo. He will miss more chances than he scores. It's just about having another body in there to get on the end of those opportunities and try to make things happen. But Ridvan puts another one in. It's another absolute sitter. That's 2 sitters in 20 minutes and we concede for a defensive howler where we've stopped playing football. It's just so painfully familiar. But speaking of familiar, when we're not hitting corners short and then trying to blast them in, that usually ends up getting cleared, we just start shooting. That's how bad we are at corners. We just shoot them every time now, you know what I mean? Rappel it in to the front post, which is fine if you want to go down that route, you know what I mean? You've seen Son score, you've seen Kuna score over the last couple of weeks, you know what I mean? Guys can score directly from corner kicks, but at least put bodies in there. We've got like 5 players in the middle of the box, like expecting the cross. Do they know what corner we're doing? Is that a tactic to try and pull everybody away so it's then no gone into the back of it? Or is it just an absolute mumbled mess? Which I think it might be the latter. Is or big players that can actually put a bit of pressure is standing here, but we fire every single corner at the near post with one runner, which is usually like the likes of Diamande or Raskin or something, one of the smaller players to just run a bit. Not Raskin, sorry, Diamande. And we used to have like Barami Day when he was starting, etc, etc. But it's all just so weird and just so amateurish, you know what I mean? We didn't do anything right, it seems. We didn't look like we work on the set pieces. We didn't look like we do any of this. It's just the same stuff air and air and air again. And aye, it's frustrating, ladies and gentlemen. Almost as frustrating as the second goal of the game. And to be fair, as much as I've talked up Sterling so far, and I have done, well, not for the majority of this season, because if you watch the videos, I think he's been poor for a lot of it. Started to come onto a game when he's played it right back for a couple of games, the likes of the St Mirren game when he played, a Kilmarnock game, sorry, not the Kilmarnock game, the run up to that where he was playing well, and then at centre back, I think he's been alright here or there in moments, but he doesn't cover himself really in glory here as the ball comes into the mixer. He headers it just up into the air. An experienced centre back, that's not named Robin Proper, of course, is maybe just headering that out, maybe for either a corner or headering it away for a throw, and you didn't header it towards back your box. But again, he's a right back sometimes, and he's just headering it up in the air. Diamandi's too slow. It maybe gets caught in the wind if you want to be nice to the laddie. It kind of just drops perfectly for the Motherwell player, but at the same time, man, that is absolute outrageous skill by the Motherwell player, sorry, as the ball bounces, and he actually bounces it into the grunt by Tav, and Tav's like that. Like, you know what I mean? It looks like lagging on pro clubs. By the time Tav's turned round to put a fit in, the ball's in the back of net and the lad's away celebrating, and there's Tav in here sleeping defensively and getting beat at the back post. Must be a day ending with Y. And aye, it's just maybe the most blatant example of going into a game, no playing your best players, putting your faith and putting opportunities for players that aren't good enough to take them, underestimating your opponent, getting embarrassed by that, making the same mistakes as always, and going into half-time needing to rip up whatever the hell the game plan was in the first half, because clearly Clement never knew what the game plan was. It's certainly, if you watch the game, not one of the players, as it was absolutely awful. That was arguably the worst 45 minutes I've seen in a collection of worst 45 minutes. I mean, it's all this season. You can look at them, especially away from him, but I just didn't like what I saw. It looked like the players couldn't kill. I mean, Ridvan was hitting shots for the halfway line. You know what I mean? He was hitting half volleys for 50, 60 yards out, and I'm going, what's happening here? But as I said, whatever the half-time plan was, it was ripped up. And the guys that weren't fit enough to start the game and aren't fit enough to play 60 minutes, even though they did in the second half and were clearly our best players. Igamane comes on for Dessers. Yeah, water is wet, you know what I mean? And Kieran Dowell goes off for Cerny. Like, I don't think guys that just play FIFA would make the mistakes that Clement makes regarding starting 11s. And right away, like a switch, again, Clement reverting to players that he's benched out or dropped, and they come in and add a bit of life to the team. As again, just like our last game, there was an injection right away of quality. Cerny right on the ball, and there was a stat before we break down the goals of the 12 shots we had in the first 15-20 minutes of the second half. 7 of them came from both Igamane in Cerny. That's the impact these players can make, but we're playing duffers and cones ahead of them in empty jerseys. I kind of keep mentioning, I know I keep going round and round and round. I just didn't get it. But thankfully what we did get was a goal as Igamane puts the ball into the back of it. As the ball comes into the mixer, it's kind of bouncing everywhere. I think Danilo ends up hitting the post as well, but it eventually drops to Igamane, who just unleashes a shot. There's no hesitation, there's no... Well, you know what I mean, with the fake shots or trying to pass it horrendously 15 yards away for the opposition. He's a striker inside the box for Rangers. His first instinct is to shoot. He buries it into the back of net. 2-1, game on. Let's see what we've got. He also hits one first time from the edge of the box. It goes just a whisker wide as well, but it's building. It's building. And then Jack Butland, or whoever is wearing Jack Butland pyjamas, it feels like almost a prank, nearly gives one to Motherwell as they end up winning a corner after a decent save for Tony Watt, by the way. The whip went in to the mixer. Remember how we talked about scoring directly from a corner? Well, we have one here as Jack Butland comes up and... Look, I've never been a goalie, right? You know what I mean? I've not got the height facilities for anything like that, you know what I mean? And I know they're a mad bunch. Every goalie I've ever met or played with are absolute psychos, but surely he's trying to punch with his wrong hand. Like, see, when you look at it, I'm like, what is he doing? And Tony Watt is there, and he's got a wee bit, I think, well, the airman on him like this a little bit. It goes into the back of net, and honestly, I was delighted it was chopped off. I thought it was going to be, because again, goalies are overly protected. That's something we've moaned at for many years right here on the channel. So I'm not going to flip my tune because it's went for me this time. No, sorry, it went for me. I'm not going to sit and say, it's definite foul. For me, I think goalies are too protected. I feel like if they can go and do this and jump on the back of folk and no need to do that, there should be a wee bit you can put on them. I mean, the likes of the Kuna goal had something very similar happen to Onana, in the goals for Manchester United. Yeah, I'm watching a lot of Man United games for the preview coming in January. There's a wee bit of that as well, but they cleared it there. So I think, honestly, Butland maybe gets away with one here, but I know it's the way football goes right here. I'm thinking, right, we got away with it. Whether you think it's a foul or not, we got away with it. It's still 2-1. We've still got a chance. By goodness gracious, it's nearly another for Jack Butland. As it's sort of just, I think it's a header. For outside the box, it's just up in the air and it's floated. Butland's like that. He's kind of leaving. You know how goalies jump up and then they pull their hands away when they think it's gone over. But it ends up hitting the bar. And again, people will jump to the defence of Jack Butland because we all like him. I still like him. But you've got to be able to call it if they play Pishola. And he's playing Pishola troops, right? He pulls it. I know the wind's blowing and everything like that, but he just lets it bounce. He just lets it go. Just knock it out for a corner. He doesn't want to do that though because his head's gone for making the mistake previously. That's why he tries to leave it for a goal kick and it drops and Tony Watt ends up putting the ball into the back of it. But this goal is chopped off not for a controversial call or a maybe here or a maybe there in the midst of VAR discussions that will happen from the handball for the first one. Butland's potential foul for Motherwell's what would have been third one. This one is chopped off easily, as Dan Casey is about half a yard offside. No controversy here. He is offside, but it's again another major worry and another in your arse is clenching. But thankfully we do put the ball in the back of net next and maybe showed you the luck what it would be like to be a Motherwell fan, because you're talking about inches and maybes about being 4-1 up against Rangers at home. That's how close they were. A half a yard for Dan Casey and a fourth official in a studio making a decision on goalies being overprotective away from being 4-1 down. Can you imagine what we'd been saying if that was the final scoreline? But again, we do put the ball in the back of it, and the way that it happens, again, Ridvan plays the ball to Igamane, and Igamane just beautiful finish, man, tucks it away, curls it into the bottom corner, and you're thinking, yes, here we go, 2-2, it's all up in there. But again, just like our last game when we brought it back versus St Mirren, as soon as we get back level, I don't know if I'm just really getting, it slows down. Just the way we still attack, but it's not that same right, sort of fit down, sort of hands to the throat style mentality. It's no that aggressive nature that when we're chasing a game, as soon as we're back level, the back passes start to happen with Sterling proper and Sterling to proper, Sterling to sometimes to Raskin or to Diamante, and then back to the I mean, just jumping over to like the 10 minutes Sarri done, there was a spell from the 91st to the 94th minute, we just passed it from side to side. That's 3 minutes injury time that we've wasted. And I know there was 10 minutes, Ari done, but why are we wasting 3 minutes. Why are we not putting the ball in the box? Why are we not asking questions? But it's just unfortunate what slipped into the mentality of what's okay to be Rangers results and what's okay to be performances. This is what this board has oversaw with all their happy clapping and taking of this and taking stuff for granted. And it's just absolutely shocking. I just hate the mentality. Honestly, every time I watch a Rangers game, I'm just sitting frustrated and annoyed because there's 3 or 4 players that get what it means and truly understand, but the rest of them, journeymen for here, or guys that's never done nothing or won anything, and they're just happy to be here, pick up a wage, and they'll try their best. They'll get their wee European away day, they'll get clapped off the phenomenal away support, they'll get other wee likes on social media and stuff. The camera actually ran out of battery there, but that's how much I've been ranting today. But talking about that, they get other wee support and everything like that whenever they turn up 1 out of 4 games, and that seems to be enough for them. But again, I know I'm getting old and crabby, but it's not enough for me, and it shouldn't be enough for this club. It needs to be 4 out of 4. It needs to be a minimum of 3 out of 4. You know what I mean? That's what it used to be. You used to have to truly give something to make it at Rangers, but there's just too many posers and too many half-arses that's gone in to this club, both on and off the park, and just the mindset and the standard and the tradition is all slowly but surely falling away, and this is what we're going to continue to see, ladies and gentlemen. That isn't a team growing, that isn't a team building, that isn't a team doing anything the day that's maybe got a bad result, because we are an average team, but we're going to be alright. It's us making the exact same mistakes, relying on the same failures and again. And again, for me, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. That's going to be the title when Clement is eventually relieved of his duties of a Rangers manager, whether it's today or this. You know what I mean? I made a video, a couple of weeks ago after that week. I said he probably shouldn't be sacked for what happened versus Spurs and Celtic and that, because we saw a performance, we saw it. He's starting to do things right. But almost from that exact moment, he's reverted and tried to bring his formation back, bring his style of play back. Maybe he doesn't like that people are saying he's done this and done this. He's tried to force his own stuff back in. It was horrendous versus Dundee. It was horrendous versus St Mirren, and he's even stuck with the 2 up top, fair enough, but he's tweaked in and brought in other duffers, and you're just thinking it's just crap, ladies and gentlemen. It's no good enough here. It isn't anywhere near the acceptable levels in my personal opinion. Whether we did get a ball cleared off the line from Cerny or no, which was great defending from wee Wilson at the back post with Tavernier trying to get there. I know we did have a couple nearly maybe moments towards the end of the game, but at the same time, a draw again. 1 point from St Mirren and Motherwell wouldn't be good enough to keep your job back in the day. And it wouldn't even happen, actually, because we'd actually have good players and everyone to understand that isn't acceptable. So it wouldn't have happened. But it happens far, far too often these days, and it's just a symptom of where we are and a summary where this club is going, and that is just middle of the road, bang average. Great to watch if you're a neutral, because it's an absolute mess to watch, but we're coming the likes of Manchester United, the Spurs squads and everything, they just can't put a consistent run on, but just turn up one every a couple games and could be good for a moment. That's where we have slowly but surely felt it. That's a similar story, and that's where we are in my personal opinion. I know there was a VAR check for Tony Watt wanted Cerny sent off, but the way Cerny reacted made, because when I seen it I went, oh my god, there's Cerny's getting a red card, that's him getting banned for 3 games, etc, etc. But when I seen the way he responded, and he was quite clearly on TV calling Tony Watt a dirty cheat at one point, at least that's what I saw, and calling him a diver, I went, oh, maybe he's not touched him, but it's actually Tony Watt that's pulled him back, and then tried to jump into him, and Cerny's kind of turned round and he's flopping like a fish around. You know, it's Tony Watt being Tony Watt, a wind-up merchant. That's the way he's always been. It's never a red card for me. There'll be no retrospective action for me. The only thing I was annoyed at, if I'm honest with you, is the fact that Cerny got booked for a guy jumping on his back and diving, pretending he got hit on the nose. Like, what does that send it? But aye, he got a booking for that, and I think that's the last incident to really talk about. Again, we wasted so much time there. We had nearly moments, maybes, but nearlies and maybes isn't good enough for this club, but it certainly became the recurring theme. But what about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the old comment section below, and until next time, which will be next year, ladies and gentlemen, have a great New Year's, whatever you're celebrating that. I will see you back for a nice wee easy game versus Celtic in January. At least it's Thursday, eh? At least we've got a chance. It's Thursday night. I'll see you. Have a good New Year, eh? I'll take care of yourselves. All the best. Have a great time with you and your families. Until next time, I've been CJ92. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.